So
That's
we're gonna be talking today about evaluation, for how
yeah.
you can like evaluate your own skills as a teacher. That's something that all of us should do, but often because we're busy teachers, it's easy to forget to take those minutes and that time to evaluate yourself to see the direction that you're going and if your teaching is working. Um, yeah, Mike, do you ever get a chance to kind of evaluate your own teaching?
Well, I evaluate myself when I see that students don't get it. So I always ask myself, "Oh, I did something wrong," or "Why they don't understand this?" Usually, I won't check, on purpose. Maybe it's wrong. Is that I just check when I can see the students, they don't understand what I'm saying, or there's something wrong, or after results of their tests, especially in French, when they learn, paper tests, they hate it because it's really difficult, French grammar. So I will ask myself pretty much, what did I do wrong? But I can't wait for Emily to tell us a little bit about, to have maybe a structure or where to think, that's we all have to do for sure. But I want to, I'm not, I'm going to mark or do some notes about what I should do next time. But I feel like it's really difficult to check your own progress. So I love when there are teachers coming for, observation. It's really helpful because it's difficult to check yourself, check your own progress. Obviously, the progress you're going to see is going to be your students' progress, right? It's going to be difficult for you to evaluate your own. So that's a very interesting topic. How about you, Stu?
Yeah, so I really advocate for teachers to self-evaluate and reflect, like reflect on how the lesson went. And if quite often, I remember when I was a younger teacher, the lesson didn't go to plan, and I would feel frustrated. I would feel angry. Often I would blame the students for not understanding or it not working. They were playing around rather than listening, and it didn't go to plan. But actually, reflecting back, maybe they were playing around because I didn't give the instructions very well, or I didn't make things clear. I didn't model it well enough. Um, the techniques I used, maybe the task was too long, and they lost their concentration, and it wasn't their fault. It was at the end of the day, it was my fault. And through that reflective process, I would be able to go back. Let's say I'm doing the class again with a different set of students. I would change some things. Maybe I'd make the task shorter. I would take a little extra time to model it a bit so the students are more clear before we really began the main part of the task. So I would tweak my teaching because of my reflection and self-evaluating myself. Um, and and long term, when you look at the bigger picture, when you evaluate the different rather than just kind of micro situations, when you kind of a macro evaluate yourself, that's really important as well. What ways can you be training? What webinars can you attend? How can you improve and brush up on the skills that you feel that you're weak in? There's something called the European Profiling Grid, which is part of my course on Unit 18. And the EPG, the European Profiling Grid, you can self-evaluate and self-assess your own teaching, and you can it's quite a long questionnaire. It's kind of like taking you about 20 minutes, and you self-assess yourself using the European Profiling Grid. It's completely free. Go and check it out on Google at the end of this live stream, and you can see what areas where you feel that you're deficient, and then you can write, okay, so I'm not very good at admin. You know, I'm good in the classroom, but my admin skills are a bit weak, a bit sloppy, whatever. I'm going to learn how to become better at doing the admin, or you know, whatever, testing. And then you can focus on that using the EPG, the European Profiling Grid. So yeah, there's lots of different ways, but yeah, I'm really kind of stoked about hearing Emily's ideas about how we can self-evaluate ourselves and our skills.
All the tools that I'm going to show you are usable, reusable for yourself, for your students, for your team, for your school. You can use them in so many different ways to evaluate your own progress, where you are now, your progress. So you can use them, like for example, today, and then use them again in 12 weeks, and then look back at your distance traveled. And you also touched on goal setting. So I think goal setting is such an integral part of self-evaluation, because when you self-evaluate and you become aware of where you are, or your students become aware of where they are and where they want to be, and then they can track their progress and how they got on with it and what went wrong. Why didn't they improve as much as they wanted? What how could they improve more rapidly? So yeah, there's lots to look at. Shall I share my screen and
Yeah, please.
show
Yeah,
you some of
sure.
the tools?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
leave some space.
Cool. Okay, so I'm going to use Canva Whiteboard, which is one of my favorite tools because, can you see that?
Not yet. Maybe it's
Not
gonna
yet.
come.
Hmm.
Hopefully.
It says I'm screen sharing. Oh, it's because I think my shared screen is backstage. Is that possible?
I'm looking.
I can see it in the backstage
Usually,
area. I'm screen sharing at the moment, but
oh
I'm not
yes,
sure
okay,
about any
okay. All right,
permission or
here
something.
we go.
Ah,
Uh-huh. Excellent.
Here we
Good.
go.
Okay. So this is actually the front cover of my Pathways to Success resource pack. And I want to start with it from an evaluation perspective, because I'm going to switch over. I'll be looking only at Canva. So let me know if there's something I'm missing out on. So yeah, this image that with graphic facilitation, there's a lot of visual metaphors. And I think visual metaphors are a great
Yeah.
way to take a step back, um, maybe desensitize some topics, make them a little bit fun. And I think some
mhm.
people think that these kind of tools are just for kids. And I have to say that adults enjoy joy just as much as kids do, and adults enjoy fun just as much as kids do. So all of these tools, I have used them with my adult learners. Um, so don't be put off by all the colorful images. They actually love them just as much as kids will. Um,
Absolutely.
so yeah. Um, so yeah, I love Canva whiteboard because it's
Oh yeah, it's
free.
awesome.
You can. I'm gonna just do a quick demo with it because I love it so much. So you can go to share and like share with either an email address or with by using a public view link, and then you can get students to collaborate using those. You can add images and sticky notes, and you can get students to interact on Zoom. If you're in a Zoom room, you can get them to add sticky notes for their ideas, for example. You can get them to draw,
Mhm.
you can get them to add text notes, for example. But this is not about Canva, so but I just wanted to give a quick overview of why I'm using it and why I love it. So
I
these
use
visual, sorry.
Canva as well. I use Canva as well, but I haven't actually used this function. Would this be available in the
Yeah,
free version to use?
think so. I'm pretty sure the whiteboard is available on the free. The things that won't be available on the free are things like if you want to add like some pro images.
Templates.
So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some
Yeah,
graphics, that's a pro graphic.
yeah,
That graphic's free. This photo's a pro graphic. This one's free. So the good thing about Canva is that you can use it for like I use it for making Instagram reels. You can make PowerPoint present or
yeah.
Canva presentations in PowerPoint style. Um, You can use it for videos. There's lots of stock photos, stock images, stock graphic organizers, all sorts of cool stuff. And you can upload my cool visual templates to it.
True.
So I'm going to just have a think. When it comes to evaluating, so you can draw this tool or demonstrate this to the students. So for example, there are lots of different ways to learn English. Some students might be flying and feeling super confident. They might have maybe an English language speaker best friend or a family member. Maybe they're growing up in a family with an English speaking family. They might be struggling up the hill in first year on a bike with their English. They might be taking the slow but steady path. They might be doing a super intensive course, or they might be focusing specifically on English for traveling or English for restaurant workers, for example, in which case they might be taking a bit of a shortcut. So lots of different visual
Nice.
metaphors that you can get them to explore where they are. And you can use this obviously with your teaching as well. So how are you feeling about your teaching? Are you struggling a bit at the moment? Or what made you struggle last week? What are you quite happy with and you're plodding along with? What are you super confident with? So these visual metaphors can be used and reused in different ways. You just need to get creative about the way you're thinking about them. Any thoughts for how you might use this in your class that you would add?
Yeah, I think if I was using this to teach, this is like you say, this is a really good way for students to kind of take a step back and think, right, okay, yeah, I do struggle at learning English. There are times I feel frustrated and I don't understand, I don't like it. And by doing that, students can look inside themselves and go, right, no, I'm not on my own. I am struggling, but so is my friend there. So is my friend there. And by doing that, it also bridges the gap between the teacher and the students as well. So you become a community where you're self-reflecting and helping each other and understanding each other's own difficulties and victories as well. So you might have a small victory. You know, my use of punctuation was great in that last task, for example. I still struggle in this, but that's a small victory. And so that you could use something like that to bring the class together to kind of
Fill them up.
self-evaluate
Yeah.
their skills.
Motivation.
Yeah, very motivating.
Yeah, it's great for
Yeah.
motivation.
True.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And I
to
like
get
that
like
little guy
maybe
on
if
the
you
top
give
as
some
well.
time, sorry.
I said I like the little guy on top there as well, you know, like the end point, there's an end goal as well.
Yeah. But then is there really an end goal? Because behind every mountain, there's generally more mountains. So you get to the top of that mountain and then you decide, what's my next challenge? Where am I going to go next? But yeah, it's nice to have this little path as well for like, and how far along the path are you? And so you can actually build this into your daily practice when it comes to after class, you can reflect yourself. What did you struggle with? What was easy? What did you succeed at? Were you super confident with? Or you can do that with your students as well. Build in some time for them to discuss what's challenging me at the moment. What am I happy with? That kind of thing.
And also it's not a straight path either. So there will be times when you struggle and then you get
Yeah.
back onto it, so you can demonstrate it might not be straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you can draw this in people can draw this in class as well. So so a mountain is basically just a triangle. So and yeah, so you can draw it like maybe in your own Canva whiteboard or on your own whiteboard. So yeah, it can just be a mountain like this. I quite like adding some snow at the top to draw a person. I quite like these little oval shaped bodies.
Yeah.
And then just little arms up. Canva does make your drawings a little bit sugary, a little bit shaky, but that's okay. It's all about communicating and getting your point across.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm creating these in a more pro level and not doing them interactively, then I'd use a different program from Canva. Yeah, this hot air balloon, for example, is sometimes I just reselect that, is a rectangle
Hmm.
and then a circle and then some little M shapes.
It's really simple, right?
Yeah, like it's not about art. I always say
Mhm.
it's not art, it's communication.
I've got a friend in China, and she wanted to make a little kind of like ebook or something. I haven't
Yeah.
spoken to her a while. I'll have to check in with her. But basically, she had like 500 little doodles. How to draw these little classroom doodles, like a dog, a cat, a hot air
Mm.
balloon, a mountain, in a really good way. So you
Oh, yeah.
quickly open the book, and then you can do that to kind of facilitate learning and make learning easier using these doodles.
Yeah, like one visual can really bring a classroom to life. Like I always say, if you've got a whiteboard just full of text, that's going to be
Yeah,
quite overwhelming and the meaning's not there. But if you have a
Yeah.
whiteboard full of text and doodles, then instantly there's something there for your memory, there's something there to aid understanding, there's something to reduce processing load. Like I don't think there's a human on the planet that would prefer to read a 10-page document over an infographic. Maybe I'm wrong,
yeah,
but
True.
I would certainly prefer the quick, fast infographic with the reduced processing load. Um, yeah, I'd love to
yeah,
connect with your
absolutely.
friend in China. That'd be amazing to see that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll speak to her, and yeah, I'll connect you guys so you can chat. Yeah.
It makes
Cool.
me remember as well one coworker who was teaching with drawing all the time. I mentioned it last time we had Emily on the chat. He was literally with the content that he has, he would literally draw and create a story and drawing all the different vocabulary on the and then he would
Yeah.
erase right away and change another one. He was super active so that the kids were watching and I was watching and I was like, wow. The guy was super fast. He was in it, but that's a pity. I don't have his contact. That was back in 2003, brother. Damn, that's a long, long
Yeah.
time ago.
There's so much you can do. Like if you gain confidence with your drawing, there's so much you can do, like
True.
adding doodles to your whiteboards, all of these activities and all the activities in my resource packs and online courses. Once you learn them, you can use them in so many different ways. So like you can go into any classroom and you feel prepared because
Yeah.
you have these doodles in your head. Like you're basically a walking
Yeah,
lesson plan.
That's awesome.
true.
If
So
you're a teacher
yeah.
out there and you kind of what are the benefits of self-evaluating? Like why is this good for your career and good for your teaching? What are some of the advantages of evaluating yourself?
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah, that's what the teacher would ask. Mm.
Yeah. Do you want an answer or do you want me to
Yeah,
let
yeah,
people have
yeah.
a
Just kind of,
chat first?
let's shoot the breeze with each other about evaluation.
Okay, I'm going to move on to this template here because it's super easy to draw and
Mm.
can be used in so many ways. But when it comes to self-evaluating, I think it's so important to be aware of where you are, where you want to be, and what's holding you back. What's what are you confident with? Because I think a lot of people can get bogged down on the things that they're maybe not good at because the inner troll is strong. I certainly get a lot of negative thoughts every day, and sometimes it's quite hard to make them stop. Um, and I think self-evaluating can help you be aware of your strengths just as much as your weaknesses. And your weaknesses aren't necessarily weaknesses, they're just things about you. Um, and if you identify these things, then you can move on, you can be aware of them, you can manage them, and yeah, you can move forward and be confident of the things that you are amazing at, for example. So this
Yeah.
particular template, I have 10 different ways to use this template. One of them is, so for example, at the end of a class or in general, what are you amazing at? What are you pretty happy with? What are you okay at? What do you need more practice at? And what are you really not confident at? Or like at the end of a class, what was you know those moments in class? I think we've all had them when you're like, oh man, I wish I hadn't done that. That didn't work. You could put that,
Yeah.
but at the same
Yeah.
time, you
Yeah.
can also put these awesome things. Everyone's had them, right? If I'd,
Yeah.
I remember my
Exactly.
diploma lesson. I was doing a diploma lesson and I prepared so much for this diploma lesson. And the students were just watching me the whole time going, what's happened to the teacher? Why is she doing this? This is the students wanted the ground to swallow them up as well because this lesson was just so awful. And I think because I'd over prepared for it, I was stressed. I knew I was getting observed. And yeah, that was one of those lessons that I would rather forget. But at the same time,
Ah,
that's
yeah.
helped me become who I am today, which is
Yeah.
another way you
I
can use
really,
this template.
Yeah.
You can
Awesome.
use it to tell a story, something that was awful. How did you
Ah,
feel
true.
at different points throughout the day? Uh, like different recognitions, like the time that I recognized that I wasn't actually speaking in English when I was speaking in Scottish, um, which has made me be
Yeah.
very good at communicating across languages now. So like incidents that get you from here to here. And you can switch this round. Sometimes I feel like the storm cloud should be over here rather than here.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
As yeah. I'll just quickly show people how to draw this because I think this is the one that gives people lots of confidence in drawing because I know there's a lot of people out there that are like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to draw. I haven't drawn since I was maybe at high school or primary school even. And then when I was at primary school, everybody told me that I couldn't draw. And I think we need to turn off our inner troll with that because everybody can draw. And the way that I draw is very simple. It's definitely not art. It's just basically putting lots of shapes together. So yeah, the sun is a circle. Oops. And it doesn't need to be a perfect circle. I tend to do the lines at like 2:30, 2:45, etc.
Me too.
first.
When I'm
And
drawing,
then,
like, yeah, I'd start with that and then work off from that.
yeah. And then the clouds, the beauty of the clouds is that you can turn them into sheep, for example. And then if you're doing uh like a phonics activity, um sometimes you need to reselect for some reason. Uh, like for example, sheep, and then you could get students to add all the different words, like with feet or other words with e. I've
Yeah, yeah,
forgotten
yeah,
every
yeah,
single one, but you get the
yeah.
idea. But basically, fill the
Yeah,
sheet with. I like to call it a container activity. So you draw it really big on the whiteboard, and then students maybe copy it to their notebook, and then fill the container with lots of ideas or words. But yes, this one started
yeah,
life as a
yeah.
cloud. But you can turn it into a thought bubble as well. So all of these. Um,
So I've had those kind of like stormy bad lessons, like as we all have a lot, and they've always been learning opportunities to become a better
yeah,
teacher.
exactly.
Yeah, it's never that all bad. There's
No,
good that comes out of it.
No, you
it's
learn
seeing the
with making
positive, it's
mistakes.
seeing the silver lining in every lesson and every opportunity. It's like
Yeah,
we always
Yeah.
tell our students to learn from mistakes. We learn from our teaching mistakes
Yes,
too.
exactly.
so simple, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so simple. And yeah, so other ways to use it, like, is it like a check-in for students at the beginning of class? Like I taught a lot of students who had experienced a lot of trauma, had mental health problems. So it was quite a nice way at the beginning or end of class to say, how are you feeling? For many, their ESOL class was an opportunity to come and socialise and forget about the horrible things that were happening back in their home countries, or with their visa application, for example. So they would come into class and maybe you could ask them, how are you feeling today? I'm feeling like this. I'm feeling like a storm cloud. Why are you feeling like a storm cloud? If you want to share that, for example.
Yeah.
You can obviously use it to talk about the weather. How is the weather today?
True.
You can tell a story with it, talk about progress, as we mentioned. You could get them to check their understanding. We've just learned present perfect. How do you feel about that? I'm really confident. I need to do it again, for example. And likes and dislikes. For example, I love chocolate. I don't like being in cities, I think I've discovered. I think I prefer the countryside, for example. So yeah, lots of different things that you can do with one template.
Yeah.
And yeah, good for class and good for class and good for meetings. It could be what are we doing really well as a team at the moment? What are students enjoying in our class in our school? What do we need to improve on in our school? What are we doing okay? That kind of thing. And then obviously self-evaluating yourself and your own classes. But yeah, maybe
Yeah.
speaking a lot, so feel free to add information,
No,
add
no,
your
no, no.
ideas.
Just like, as always, Emily, it's just great to have you on, and like this kind of energy that you give out, and these graphics are so useful for so many ways. And yeah, like you can use these to ask your students how they're getting on. It creates a good platform for shared community, and yeah, having a really good kind of creative interactive lesson. But also, again, you can use it for yourself. I feel that was a bit stormy, that particular bit, and it can help that reflection, and it can create a platform where you can self-evaluate and reflect on your own teaching, and then you can change these little things, right? Maybe the again, your instructions went wrong. They started doing the wrong thing. They didn't get it. Whatever, how you controlled the energy levels in the classroom was a bit off. There's so
Yeah,
many different facets in each class.
yeah. Yeah, you're right
Oh,
about the energy levels. It's quite a good way to monitor energy levels as well, isn't
yeah,
it?
right.
Maybe they're not feeling, or there could be, yeah, negative vibe energy, for example.
Yeah, or
Or
you're teaching
and
younger
that's
students
yeah,
and they're getting a bit hectic, and you need to pull it back a bit.
yeah. And actually the
Um,
impact of what the weather has on your emotions as well. Like I'm from Scotland and the rain, when it was rainy, that's part of the reason why we're traveling in Latin America now. We're looking for permanent summer because the winter in Scotland is just so miserable. So, and that really impacts on people's moods and
yeah, yeah, mental
yeah,
health as well, right?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. So, shall I show you another template? Um, this
Yeah,
is the um hot air balloon confidence monitor. I suppose you can use it for confidence or distance traveled. Where are you in Zoom? I like to use the annotation tools in Zoom and ask students. So, for example, how confident? Okay, for example, we've just learned past simple. How confident are you with past simple? Are you down the bottom here, or
uh,
are you right up here, confident? Or maybe you're kind of confident, but you're not too confident.
mm,
Um, you can use it as a tracker for how did your class go? I didn't feel like I managed to get off the ground with that class, or that class was amazing. I've come out and I've totally been winning at teaching. Um, or yeah, you can I quite like to do it at the beginning of a class and the end of a class. Sometimes I've used it in my training sessions for how confident are you with drawing? and then people say, I'm here, I'm an artist, for example. And then do it again at the end of the session, and then maybe the people who've decided that they can't draw